Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to cover off a topic that regularly gets asked of me, a subject matter, which is, can the missions that we create be dual purpose? Can I fly them with a friend? Well, I think I've come up with a solution for that, but I need you guys to let me know what your thoughts are. So, let me show you how this would work. So to start off with, every mission that you fly is a single mission. You would click on mission and then you would select it. So let's select the single mission there, and then we'll start it. And what would usually happen is you would end up in the cockpit. But because I'm making a single mission a dual purpose single player multiplayer option, then you get presented with the screen. But the screen does say to you single player flight lead, slot friend 1, slot friend 2, slot friend 3. If it's a two-ship formation, obviously there'll only be the 2 slots. So what I can do is I can go into single-player flight lead, and then we can go into the mission.
Using the F10 menu, select AI wingman if you wish to fly in single-player mode.
I'm in single-player mode, and that's what I want to do, and the menu automatically comes up. So what I would go to do is F10, select AI, and there they are, they spawned in. So that's what you would do if you were flying it normally within the mission section. So if we want to fly that very same mission in multiplayer, what we would do is go into multiplayer and create a new server, and then we would select Wingman Test 2, click OK, and then what we would do is click Start. And then we were presented with the standard multiplayer screen. So your friends could join you. So single player is the flight lead, slot friend 1, slot friend 2, slot friend 3.
Using the F10 menu, select AI wingman if you wish to fly in single-player mode.
Now, if you fly this in multiplayer, you won't get that message, and you won't see this particular menu. But in single player, you will. Now if we look to the left and to the right, there are no aircraft here. So what we will do is we will click on Other. We will click Select AI Wingman. We get a message to say that that's the option that I've selected. If I look to the left now, we'll see that the AI wingmen are now in the sim. Now I know in some of the campaigns and some of the single player missions, the groups that are set up as flyable groups with me as the lead. What I've done is I've set it up slightly differently, because what I don't want you to have to do is race to the runway to beat the wingmen to get there. So the way I've set these missions up is they won't move until you move. So you've got all the time in the world. There's no need to rush. They won't overtake you. So let me show you that in action now. Oh, one other thing. What I've done in this mission as well is I've set up 2 sets of flares. The first flare gives you an approximate location for where the runway is, so it gives you some idea of where you need to steer to, and that flare will be fired when I start rolling. The second flare is when you are waiting on the runway and you are then cleared for takeoff. Let me show you. There we go, there's the first flare. So we need to be over in that direction. Now what I've also done is I've also set up tyre markers with flags so that you can see roughly where you need to taxi. Now let me get rid of the ATC menu. Option 12. And the tyre markers are just there to give you an indication of where you need to go and where you need to be. Now what you do need to do is you need to form up on the centre of the runway. because that stops all other AI aircraft trying to take off at the same time. So go bang center. There we go, let's stop there. Now, off to my right hand side here, we have the ground controller, who will fire the flare when we're cleared for takeoff. Let me just open the pit. As you can see, the wingmen are now starting to taxi and join me, so I didn't have to rush like I mentioned. Plus the fact this also gives me now time to set up my aircraft for takeoff, so let me set up the takeoff trim, which is my personal preference. It's not everybody's, it's just my personal preference. And there, that's me ready. So now all I'm doing is waiting for the green flare clearing me for takeoff. Shouldn't be too long now, as the wingmen are set up and joining me, and the final one is on its way. Let's keep an eye on my ground controller. There we go, I can now take off. So let's start to roll. Right, let's close the canopy. Let's come back on the power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the RPM down to 2650. And I'm going to keep the speed to maximum of 200. There we go, my wingman is airborne. So I'm going to keep the speed down below 200 miles per hour, because that gives my wingmen the opportunity to join me. Now the way I've set this up is so that you don't have to orbit the runway for ages and ages waiting for the AI to join you. So that's another benefit of this particular setup. So that's my element lead that's now airborne. And that's the element leader's wingman, now airborne. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn onto the heading that I want to go over to France on.
Skip, formed up, port echelon.
There we go, there's my wingman, joining me on the left hand side. There we go, there's number 3 joining me. There we go, number 4 has now joined me. So keeping it below 200 miles per hour, we didn't have to orbit the airfield for ages waiting for the guys to get airborne. And now we can proceed with the mission and increase speed now that they've joined us. So that's basically it in a nutshell. This one mission can be used for both multiplayer and single player with this option available. Now what I would appreciate is if you let me know in the comments below if this is something that you would appreciate being able to have access to. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Ciao for now.
Bum, bum, bum.